Okay, so we are going on another road trip in the Model 3, and this one's going to be a little bit different because I've actually got charging now, and I was able to charge up my car before we left instead of stopping halfway like we normally do. So heading to Indianapolis from Columbus, got about a 200-mile drive, usually takes about 3 hours, 15-ish minutes, just packing up the mobile adapter to bring with us, because this is what I use to charge when I'm at home. So we are currently sitting at 93%, and we're about to push off here. All right, so we're about halfway into the trip here. Usually, like I said before we left, we stop in either Inglewood or Richmond, Indiana. There's superchargers in both those locations, but we're not doing that on this trip. So we left with like 93%. We're currently at 57. We've got more than enough battery to get to our destination, and we're doing really well efficiency-wise as well. Even though I've been going between 70 and 80 miles per hour, we haven't used like any more energy than normal. We're actually under the rated efficiency right now, which is pretty incredible. Been running the AC, been listening to podcasts, been using the car to its full potential, and haven't had like any major efficiency knocks. So that's been really good. Been using autopilot as well. That's been really solid, and been enjoying the trip so far. Okay, so just hit some traffic. Nice thing about autopilot is you can just leave this on while you're stopped. So if you are stuck in traffic, you don't really have to worry about keeping your foot on the pedals or hitting the brake or anything like that. So it's moving here, and I don't need to hit pedals or anything. One weird thing I do see at low speeds is you'll see the steering wheel kind of like tilt back and forth, almost like it's kind of ping-ponging between the lane lines. And I really only see that at low speeds. That doesn't really happen when I'm traveling full speed. And that might just be the camera system just trying to get a better view of the lane lines and make sure it's staying straight. You can also see the live traffic on the map here, which is pretty cool. It's going to be red here for the next few miles at least, and till we get up around this turn and maybe even a little bit farther. So we just arrived, it's very dark, but we'll kind of give you the stats on the trip here. Total trip took 3 hours, 18 minutes, 203 miles, and used only 218 watt hours per mile, which is, again, incredibly efficient. I don't know what's been going on with my car, but it's been doing great this summer in terms of efficiency. And we arrived with 27%. I don't know how we did this before, honestly. See if this will reach to my car or not. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, this is the constant struggle when I come home, is where I'm gonna park and where I'm gonna plug in. Just plugged it in, and it's saying 24 plus hours, which is understandable because we set the charge limit at like 100%, so it's gonna take a while. Usually adds about 5 miles of range per hour when we're on just a regular wall outlet, but like I said, not gonna be doing a lot of driving this weekend, so it'll just sit here most of the time. And that's exactly what happened. My car essentially sat in the driveway charging the entire time, only unplugged it once just to go grab some groceries. But this is typically what happens when I visit family. I'm not driving my car a lot. I'm visiting with them in the house and just riding along in their car if we drive anywhere. And my car stayed charging the entire time, even survived a pretty heavy rain we had in the area. Charging in the rain is completely safe. I know that's a question I get sometimes, and it handled it just fine. And charging on a level 1 120 volt outlet like this does work, but it's definitely not preferred if you're able to get a level 2 charger installed or you have that flexibility at your family's house. That way you're not leaving your car sitting plugged in for days trying to recoup that range versus just being plugged in overnight for a single night. But with that being said, this is the way I've charged every time I've visited my family since I bought my car, and it hasn't been a huge issue. All right, so we just pushed off from Indianapolis here and we're heading back to Columbus. We charged up for a solid 2 days and got all the way up to 80%. But to give us a little extra buffer, the car is telling us we probably need to stop at the Richmond, Indiana supercharger, which you can see on the touchscreen since I plugged it in. And we actually do have another option. If we want to forego that supercharging stop, we are able to do that. We've got enough range to make it home. But if we did that, we're going to be arriving with like 30 miles of range, which is not a ton. Definitely like okay. But since we've only got level 1 charging at home as well, it's probably going to be better to just stop at the supercharger and charge up enough so that we're arriving home with a comfortable margin. We're not kind of risking running out of charge or anything like that. Not that we would, especially on a nice day like today. Probably not going to be worried about any kind of like inefficiencies or anything like that, but probably the safer route to go is just stop at that supercharging stop. And we don't necessarily need to stop for 15 minutes either. It's suggesting that we stop for 15 minutes, but I have a feeling with how efficient the car has been, especially because of how nice the weather is and there's no rain, not a lot of wind, any of that kind of stuff, we're probably going to be just fine. Okay, so just plugged in and it's literally saying we need 11 minutes to charge up before we head back and can plug in at home, which is awesome. Luckily there's a Meijer right here too, if we need to use a restroom or anything like that. It's already down to 10 more minutes, so we're gonna sit here and let it charge for a little bit, and then we're gonna drive over to our favorite fast food restaurant to grab something to eat. Culver's should be a channel sponsor by now to grab a bite to eat before we head home. So the nice thing about these chargers is they are V3 superchargers, which means they have a higher charge rate. They can ramp up to 250 kilowatts, but that also means that they don't split power between cars. So even though there's a Model X right next to us here, we are not going to split power with them. We're going to be able to pull the full amount of charge and charge up just as fast as if we were the only ones at this charging stall. So that is really nice. And we've got about 2 minutes remaining to charge, then we'll be on our way. Richmond?
That's the one.
That's the one. This charger's gotten more and more crowded too. Like I'm seeing more and more people here. Like we've stopped here in the winter and there's been like nobody.
Now turn right onto Chester Boulevard.
There it is, Culver's.
Hi.
4-piece?
Hi, thank you for choosing Culver's. We're getting fresh for you today.
Could we get a 4-piece chicken tender, and then an order of onion rings, chocolate, Andy's Mint concrete mixer?
Is that gonna be all?
Cool, thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too. Alrighty, so we just made it home. We're sitting at 33%, and we're about to plug in here. I think that's definitely one of the biggest benefits of driving an electric vehicle. If we had a long trip like this and we were in a gas car, we'd probably have to stop for gas as soon as we got home. But now we don't have to do that. We can just pull in the garage and plug in. This is probably a great shot right here. And we're all good. Obviously don't have like having just the level 1 here, but since it's probably just gonna sit here the rest of the day, it's not really that big a deal. So if you have any questions about the road trip or road trips you wanna see in the future or anything at all, definitely let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next road trip.